This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
The following procedure shown is performed on a 2007 model GMC Acadia. If you're working on a 2008 or earlier model like this one, the footage shown in this video will be most relevant to your model, which does not require the removal of the intake manifold and purchasing new gaskets for the manifold. On 2009 and later models, the intake manifold must be removed to access the front bank of spark plugs, which is not shown in this video. However, the basic concept of replacing the spark plugs, starting from and ending with the removal and replacement of the ignition coils, can be followed. Refer to your Haynes manual for more info pertaining to your specific model. On all models, disconnect the cable from the negative terminal of the battery. The battery is located behind the front passenger side seat underneath the battery cover. For more detailed info on accessing the battery on this model, view the battery replacement video if needed. Disconnect the cable and secure it in a way in which it won't unintentionally reconnect. Remove the engine cover and make sure the engine is cold before beginning the procedure. Front bank spark plugs. Unclip any plastic clip fasteners and connectors from the electrical wiring harness above the ignition coils and position the harness aside accordingly to prevent interference from removing the coils. Disconnect the electrical connector from the coil. Remove the ignition coil mounting fastener. Pull up and twist the coil to remove it. With the plug still installed, use compressed air to blow debris out from inside and around the spark plugs to eliminate foreign material from entering the cylinders. Remove the spark plugs with a spark plug socket. Before installing the new spark plugs, it is a good idea to apply a thin coat of anti-seize compound to the threads of the plugs. Using a rubber hose connected to the end of the plug, thread the plug this way first to prevent any cross-threading. Tighten the spark plugs to 156 inch-pounds. Install the ignition coil, then its fastener. Tighten the fastener securely, but do not over-tighten it. Reconnect the ignition coil electrical connector. Repeat these steps for the remaining plugs on the front cylinder bank. Reconnect any plastic clips and connectors on the wiring harness above the coils that were disconnected to access the coils. Rear bank spark plugs. To access the rear bank of spark plugs, the removal of the underhood fuse and relay box is required. Flip open the protective cover on the remote positive terminal. Remove the fuse box cover. Remove the nut and detach the battery positive cables from the stud. Using a screwdriver, dislodge the tabs securing the perimeter of the upper portion of the box to the lower portion. Unscrew the two bolts securing the upper portion of the fuse and relay box to the junction blocks. Carefully lift off the top half of the box and remove it. Pull the junction blocks and wiring harnesses out from the bottom half and set them aside. Use a screwdriver to release the tabs and detach the lower half of the box from the base. Remove the bolt and detach the ground cable from the inner fender panel if needed. This will free up a little more space. Remove the fasteners and detach the base from the inner fender panel. Now that the fuse box is out of the way, this enables better access to the rear bank of plugs. The intake manifold has been removed for clarity. Do not remove the intake manifold as it is not necessary for this procedure. Remove the ignition coil by reaching back behind the intake manifold, first disconnecting the coil electrical connector. Remove the coil fastener. Pull up and twist the coil to remove it. With the plugs still installed, use compressed air to blow debris out from inside and around the spark plugs to eliminate foreign material from entering the cylinders. Remove the spark plugs with the spark plug socket. Before installing the new spark plugs, it is a good idea to apply a thin coat of anti-seize compound to the threads of the plugs. Using a rubber hose connected to the end of the plug, thread the plug this way first to prevent any cross-threading. Tighten the spark plugs to 156 inch-pounds. Install the ignition coil, then its fastener. Tighten the fastener securely, but do not over-tighten it. Reconnect the ignition coil electrical connector. Repeat these steps for the remaining plugs on the rear cylinder bank. Reinstall the fuse and relay box assembly, starting with the base. Make sure to reinstall the ground cable and tighten the fastener securely if removed previously. Install the fasteners and tighten them securely. Install the lower half of the fuse box, pushing it down until the locking tabs are secured. Position the junction blocks and wiring harnesses back into place on the lower fuse box. Reinstall the upper portion of the fuse box, aligning it properly and tightening the two bolts until the upper portion locks into the lower portion. Also make sure all of the side tabs are secured. Reinstall the battery positive cables back onto the stud and install the nut. Tighten the nut securely. Secure the protective plastic cover. Replace the fuse and relay box cover. Double check that all the electrical connectors and retainers are connected and secured, then reconnect the cable to the negative terminal of the battery. Replace the cover and tighten the cover fastener securely. Replace any trim covers removed to access the battery. Secure all the metal clips by pushing them into place. Replace the floor mat. Replace the engine cover.